Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. This is what it takes to get XRP rich. Having conviction in what you hold and holding for very long periods of time. Whatever it takes. And you know who's doing just that? People who are already rich. People who are already rich are not only holding, but they're buying even more XRP as evidenced by on-chain activity, which I will highlight in this latest Moon Lambo Hot Jam. And this is all happening, as positive macro developments unfold. It's setting up a perfect environment for the ultimate XRP price surge, which is exactly what we've been waiting for the better part of a decade. So even if we have to chop around a bit price-wise, and even though we'll likely have to endure more pullbacks along the way, that's a virtual certainty, the end result will be the same. XRP price being way higher than it is today. And look, I have nothing to sell you. I've been running this YouTube channel since the middle of December 2018. I literally have zero things to tell you. I'm just a regular dude on the internet who is achieving life-changing wealth purely by buying crypto and then doing nothing. And it's not the most popular message. I'd probably get a lot more clicks and I'd make a lot more money if I just create a course and sell that. I could do that, but I'm just telling you the truth. You don't need to buy a damn course from anybody. The truth is, if you have broad exposure to the crypto asset class, and I think XRP absolutely should be a big piece of that because it's a large cap that's shown staying power, offers true utility. It's already clearly early winner of the crypto space. But just by having that broad exposure and then waiting a long period of time, that's how you win. This is not some pipe dream. Regular people, and I'm a regular person, there's nothing special about me. Regular people like you and me absolutely can get wild, life-changing wealth in crypto. I'm living through it. All you have to do is control yourself, though, because you are your own worst enemy when it comes to investing. Nobody else is going to mess this up for you. I mean, broadly speaking, yes, there can be rug pulls and scams, stuff like that, but broadly speaking, if you just take some simple steps, if you don't get wild, life-changing wealth, honestly, it's on you. And I don't see that to be negative towards it. What I'm telling you is it's a positive message because yes, you do have that control. You are in control. You are in the pilot seat. You get to choose whether or not you get the life-changing wealth. And if you can just control yourselves and not tinker with positions, jump in and out of stuff, because that's the type of thing that typically ruins the opportunity for life-changing wealth for the regular investor. You don't have to engage in such activity. So I'm going to share with you some very exciting perspectives from XRP chart analysts. You're going to want to stick through the end of this video for those. And also I want to talk a bit about what happened yesterday because the market started ramping up and then it pulled back and there's some macro stuff at play. Very interesting stuff. And if you want to know what happens with XRP, you better understand that as well because it's all intertwined. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. As I record this video, it's 11:29 a.m. Central Time, Wednesday, October 22nd, 2025. XRP is $2.39. Bitcoin's $108,509. So we've got a sea of red across the board in crypto land here. It's just volatile. But of course, if you go back just 24 hours ago, the market was starting to get a bit pumpy. And why? Well, take a look at this. This is certainly a piece of it. The timing lines up. We had a news event that actually did cause the market to move. This was shared by Dennis Porter. Bitcoin shot up immediately after a Federal Reserve governor indicated he is pushing for a skinny master account program. This announcement is huge for integrating Bitcoin into the traditional financial system, and he shared this at 10:48 a.m. Central Time yesterday. So, couple things right off the bat. Yeah, it's true that this is something that got the market all hot and bothered. It's also true that he cites that this is huge for integrating Bitcoin. This is ridiculous. Like that's the type of stuff that you see from somebody who just wants to prop up Bitcoin because reasons, even though it's technologically speaking the worst cryptocurrency ever created. The truth is, this is about crypto. The entire asset class, including XRP, not just Bitcoin. That's a fake ass narrative right there if you're saying it's just about Bitcoin. But the block covered this story, and check this out. Federal Reserve Governor Christopher Waller says the central bank plan is entering a new era in cryptocurrency, will no longer be on the fringes while rolling out a new prototype to expand central bank services. So let me just pause to say here, we for the first time, it's been less than a year since Trump got elected, and he's only been president since January. We have, for the first time in history, the United States in a pro-crypto environment from the top of the highest levels of government all the way on down. And this matters no matter where you live, even if you're not in the United States. And I know about close to half my audience isn't in the United States. But it matters to you because the United States is the largest capital market on the entire damn planet. So if way more money is going to flow into crypto because of this, that will benefit everybody the world over. That is actually why this matters. And so to recognize this and understand that this is what has been decreed, and over the next few years, you're just going to see more and more of this, you're going to see a blurring of the lines between what is traditional finance and what is crypto. It's going to be blended together. You're going to see cryptocurrency exchanges offering stocks. You're going to see platforms, companies like Charles Schwab, stuff like that. Anyone from traditional finance, even Vanguard, I believe that they're going to get into it, of course. They'll be offering crypto services. And so, you're going to have a blurring of the lines of what is traditional finance was crypto. It's going to be the same thing. What was once the fringes, it's rolling out. And XRP is absolutely a huge piece of this. And XRP offers tremendous utility. It's an early winner of the crypto space here. And so to see that, how can you see that and then not be optimistic for the crypto asset class long-term and not be optimistic for XRP individually, specifically, because it genuinely solves problems. And people clearly desire the technical attributes that it offers. I can't imagine not being bullish. Like, even if we were going to enter a bear market now, how could you not then be excited for your opportunity to buy stuff cheaper, knowing that this asset class is going to be worth, eventually tens of trillions of dollars and then over $100 trillion in the future? Like, if you want to get rich, like, do you just understand that? You can get wildly wealthy. Just get basic steps here. Getting exposure to the asset class and then waiting however long it takes. Controlling the parts you can control and letting go of the parts that you can't, because you can't control when the market goes, but you can control whether or not you have exposure to the market when it inevitably does. And then the piece continues. I wanted to send a message that this is a new era for the Federal Reserve in payments. The DeFi industry is not viewed with suspicion or scorn, Waller said on Tuesday during the Fed's Payments Innovation Conference. Rather, today, you are welcomed to the conversation on the future of payments in the United States and on our home field, something that would have been unimaginable a few years ago. And that certainly is true. Under the last administration, you never would have seen anything like this. And under Trump's first administration, he was anti-crypto. You never would have seen anything like this. Thankfully, he saw the light and he's done a complete 180 to his credit. And that's why we're seeing this. And it was not just lip service. A lot of people, when he was running leading up to the election, and a lot of this was discussed summer of last year, a lot of people saying, Trump's just lip service. He's not really going to be pro-crypto. No, he's way more pro-crypto than even I thought he'd be, and I was very optimistic. So yeah, things haven't changed. If you're not pro-crypto or like long-term optimistic, you're doing it wrong. How could you not be? How could you possibly reasonably not be? It makes no damn sense. Here's a post from Anthony Pompliano. He said, yesterday I told you it was time. Oh, by the way, he posted this yesterday and he's referencing the day before that. So he wrote, yesterday, I told you it was time for the great rotation from gold into Bitcoin. Today, the rotation started. Okay, I have seen tons of analysts talking about this. This is a huge narrative yesterday. And frankly, there's probably some truth to this. And I say that because if you look at previous market cycles, when gold will run up to whatever degree, not necessarily to the parabola that we've seen this cycle, but it'll run up and then it'll go back down as risk on assets take over, like stocks and crypto. So you will see gold run up, and then you'll see Bitcoin run even higher than it already has to that point and hit a blow off top, and then you have alt season. So here you've had gold in the biggest run up, like literally in decades. I mean, think about this. Like several years or so ago, what was gold? Like I'd have to look back at a chart, but I remember not that long ago, it was like what, $1,800, $1,900, like half a decade ago, something like that. And it hit a new all-time high. I don't remember exactly what the high is, but above $4,300. So more than doubled. And if you think back to the early 2000s, it was less than $300. So it has had periods of time where it's run tremendously. But here you can see, like yesterday, gold started plummeting, and that was a big fall. I mean, yesterday it fell about 5%, and on the same day Bitcoin started running. Now, again, we know what happened after that. Crypto markets did come back down, but it still was interesting to see both those things happening at the same time. Now, before I recorded this video, I checked a little bit prior, and at the time anyway, gold was down close to another 2%. So 5% yesterday. I don't know where it's going to close today, but gold was down close to another 2% right before I started recording this. So we'll see where it lands. But historically, this is kind of how things go. There's also this post from Cointelegraph. They were sharing data from Bitwise. They wrote here, insight, only 3 to 4% capital rotation from gold to Bitcoin could cause Bitcoin to double from current levels per Bitwise. And so you can see what they're saying at various percentages of gold rotating into Bitcoin. They're saying it wouldn't take that much. And frankly, once money, profits taken from gold flows into an asset, you do get this multiplier effect. So that concept in and of itself is not crazy. Now, I will say, even without this, given how global liquidity is hovering around all-time highs, and how Bitcoin lags historically, anyway, I still think you're going to see like a final parabola for Bitcoin anyway. I'd be surprised if we didn't, frankly, to end the cycle. But if some of this ultimately does rotate in, you'll get some sort of impact. There's no way for me to know exactly, and they don't know either, how much profit is going to be taken from gold and then shoved into Bitcoin, but some amount certainly could be. I'm just arguing that without that, you're still going to get to see some really wild price action. Now, if it is on the upper end of this, like say 5% rolls in and you got $242,000 Bitcoin like they're projecting on the screen here, I don't know how you could not get double-digit price action for XRP. There would be so much money sloshing around this freaking asset class. I don't know how you couldn't get wild price action like that. It would be weird not to if Bitcoin actually goes that high. Here's a post from chart analyst 360 Trader. And this is certainly true, and I just thought I'd highlight this because it's going to be true of XRP too. Like for XRP, you are going to see a final parabola where you just feel like it's never going to stop, and then there will be people purchasing at or near the top. But when you see a crazy parabola, that's actually an indicator that we're getting towards the end of things here. And historically, XRP has two major price bursts. It has one, and then about half a year later, another. We're kind of having an elongated cycle unless the bears are right and we're actually entering a bear market. So it's one or the other. And you know what? I don't think we're entering a bear market. Just friendly little tip there. When you start seeing something go parabolic, maybe you are getting towards the end. And so that's what he's warning here with gold. And if historic precedent matters, as it frequently does, then this could be very good for crypto. And so he wrote here, always sell into verticality. Gold gave you 2 months of it plus. The steeper the incline, the more massive and hastier the drop. Right. So when we get into that moment for XRP, if I start to get concerned, I'm not gonna be bashful about saying that, even though this is a pro XRP channel. Like if XRP is going vertical, the more crazy it gets price wise, I won't pretend to know where the top is going to be. I won't. But for those that want to secure profit, that will be the time to be thinking about that, unquestionably. That's all I'm saying here. Here is a post shared by chart analyst Matthew Hyland. He's got a quote from Warren Buffett, and I freaking love this quote. This is my freaking jam here, because the way to win and get life-changing wealth if you're a regular person like me, and I know like most of you listening are like me, just regular people, it's to be patient. Invest and then just be patient, and then you win. So Warren Buffett's quote is, "The stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient." Now, I know Warren Buffett is no fan of crypto because he's not going to be right about everything in life, but that concept, which is true of the stock market, absolutely applies to crypto. Those who are patient get the wild wealth. My XRP is worth a fortune compared to what I paid for it. And yeah, I had to wait a long time, and longer than I expected, because the SEC interfered. And if not for that, I think that you would have seen a wild XRP run last market cycle in 2021. But can't control that stuff. Either way, it still proves the point. Those who are patient get the life-changing wealth. My average purchase price for XRP is 25 cents. It ran to $3.65, and we're a little lower now. It's not done though. Without setting I don't make price predictions, but without setting a timeline on this, I would be surprised if XRP never gets into double-digit price action. That would be weird to me. Like, say I could magically time travel into the future like 100 years and look back. If XRP never got to double digits, I'd be like, what the hell just happened? I would be shocked by that. That would be weird to me because it's an early winner of the crypto space, and I do understand that a boatload of money is just going to increasingly flow in. You've got the largest capital market on the planet, the United States, being pro-crypto now. XRP's got regulatory clarity. Traditional finance is embracing crypto now. Like, how could you not be bullish? Such a small percentage of humans own any crypto. Way less than 1% of humans have ever owned a single XRP. And the prices have already run this high. What do you think happens when you have like twice as many people in crypto or triple that? And then, and it's not just the quantity of people, because that doesn't mean 3 times the people means only the 3 times an increase in price. No. Because it's also people and businesses and institutions with deep pockets, which will way more than triple the market cap for the asset class. You have, actually, I shouldn't say, I wanted to say you have no idea how fortunate you are that you came across this asset class when you did, even if you're new in 2025. But maybe a lot of you do know that, and maybe I'm just preaching to the choir, but I hope you do. I hope you've considered it. Like, you are so fortunate. So kudos to you and credit, man. Here's a post from Scott Milker, the Wolf of Wall Streets. There's currently $7.5 trillion on the sidelines in money market funds. What do you think happens when the Fed aggressively cuts and the yields on these funds drop? Well, that's an interesting question. And this is reposted by Frecky, who is an XRP community member, and he's been in crypto since 2011. He also has a decades-long career in traditional finance. And he wrote, as my followers should know, if they are paying attention, this capital will get deployed across asset classes and crypto, as well as rates drop. Capital will search for higher ROI/yield/total return elsewhere. And then he shared a bunch of ticker symbols, including XRP. The money's going to slosh into here. It's going to come. And you may get impatient because it's not happening on the timeline you want, but you don't get to control that part. And I'm going to continue to do my best to make that crystal clear to you. You don't control that. So either you have exposure when the market pumps, or you don't. And that's why I'm so strict with myself. Once I buy a crypto, I do not sell it. Unless one day it's worth so much that I'm enticed to sell, but that's it. Never because I'm impatient, and never because the price goes down. I can add to my position, but these are rules I set for myself. That's that. I can add to my position. I can open new positions with new coins, but I'm not selling. Either I sell for a tremendous profit, or if that never happens with certain coins, I never sell them. And maybe some of them do go to zero. And I mean, I don't expect to win on all of the coins that I buy. That would be unrealistic, I think. I hold 42 different cryptocurrencies, literally. And you don't, by the way, you do not need that many to win. If you have like even 5 to 10 high conviction plays, utility coins, especially if they're large caps, maybe some mid caps, if you hold long enough, you're probably going to be fine. Just, stay in tune with what's happening with the market, of course. But yeah, like you're on the right path then. The only reason I have so many is because, well, first of all, a lot of those are very small positions, and it's just because I've been here so long, and like I kept making money. I was like, just put something there, and just kind of spreading out my exposure, basically. That was it. But I wouldn't have done that if I didn't already have some serious core positions with coins like XRP, where the utility is actually there, and coins that actually matter. Here's a post from Crypto Wizard. This is the entire crypto asset class here. This chart is called Total. It says, open your eyes, don't you see? We've seen this before. Back in 2017, Total exploded upside, leading to a bull run that is still spoken about today. The market is currently mirroring that same structure. And you can see what he's highlighting here. Higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. Same thing back in 2016 going into 2017. Same thing. He's expecting history to pretty much rhyme with itself here and have a euphoric blow off top. And by the way, he's also calling for double-digit price action for XRP in separate posts. I don't. If you just have a sufficiently long time frame, I don't know how you can't win in this. It's just so obvious. It is so obvious. Crypto's here to stay, and XRP already won. We don't have to sit around scratching our heads. Oh, I wonder if XRP is going to make it. Son, it's been around over 13 years. If that's not enough to say it won, what the hell is? Come on, it's very obvious. Here's a post from chart analyst Alex Wasey. Shared this with his 197,000 followers. This is altcoins denominated against Bitcoin. That's what Others is. Others is the top 125 coins by market cap, excluding the top 10 coins. So it's that denominated in Bitcoin. So it's showing you what altcoins are worth against Bitcoin here. And he wrote, alts have never been this oversold. MACD bullish cross forming again. Two-thirds of the time it triggered alt season explosions. And I just wanted to note here, markets find bottoms. If you were listening to me throughout 2024, I said that so many times when we were looking at the XRP chart. Because if you look at specifically the XRP BTC chart, because there are people that were laughing at us, look at how low XRP's priced against Bitcoin. Like, it's going to zero. I was like, no, you're all a bunch of idiot sticks if you're saying that, because markets find bottoms. And if you looked at previous instances where XRP was priced about that poorly against Bitcoin, what followed after that was a giant rocket ship candle. And that's what we got in November. I was like, guys, I don't know exactly what day it's going to take off, but probably sooner than later. And that's what I was saying throughout most of 2024. I was like, I don't know when it's going to go, but historically when XRP's price is low, markets find bottoms and markets adjust for that. And XRP's been artificially suppressed for years, probably going to catch up. And it did. And here what I'm showing you is it's the same concept. It's just that we're looking at altcoins on the whole. That's what others is. It's outside the top 10 coins by market cap, but look at how poorly it's priced. And it's not like it has to come down to where it was in 2017. Look at this. We're either there or about there, even if it goes a little bit lower first. And then you're going to see a massive reverse. Like, what do you think? Like, we're never going to see others denominated in Bitcoin rocket to the upside. It's just never going to happen. Come on. That's what people said about Bitcoin, or about XRP price against Bitcoin. Famous last words, folks. Of course it's going to rocket at some point. Either you have exposure when it happens, or you don't. I'm choosing to have exposure because that's how you get life-changing wealth, and that's working for me. I've been in crypto almost 8 whole years now. I first bought crypto November 10th, 2017. I first bought XRP November 17th, 2017. It's been almost 8 years. And I am, like, honestly, the best financial decision I've made in my entire life is getting into crypto and specifically purchasing XRP. Hands down. And anybody can do it. You don't have to be a guru. You don't have to be a finance guy. I'm no guru. I'm just a dude on the internet named Moonland. We got a silly ass name running a YouTube channel. But I'm running this to show you, yes, you can do this. It's up to you. Take charge here. You absolutely can do this. Don't have a defeatist attitude. Oh, it could never happen for me. Yes, it can. Yes, it can. Because look, this rocket ship's just going to keep going. Either you've got a seat on it or you don't. And you choose whether or not you have a seat. That's what I'm saying. That's my message to you. Yes, you can. Absolutely, you can do that. Here's a post from Cantonese Cat. This is the others chart. And he says, others crypto market cap excluding top 10 coins. This cycle's so much longer, it's not even funny. To me, this isn't hopium. This is the time for maximal opportunity. Well, that's interesting. So not entering a bear market, time for maximum opportunity, highlighting others here, and recognizing that this cycle's longer than others. I'm seeing, and I wanted to highlight this because it's another analyst I follow who's recognizing, yeah, this cycle's really dragging on, and recognizing what's the ultimate outcome of this thing. Well, maybe Raoul Paul's correct, and Julian Biddle and Tech Dev, and other analysts that say that this market cycle is going to go into Q1 or Q2 of 2026. Maybe they're right. And I've told the story so many times, I'm not going to in this video, just having to do with the fact that the 4-year cycle, Raoul Paul's arguing it's now a 5-year cycle because that's what the debt refinancing timeline is now. It was averaging out to be 4 years. Now it's averaged out to 5 years. And he says that's why it's happening. That's why you're seeing global liquidity where it is. And that's also why you haven't seen the business cycle peak. Excuse me. Here's a post from Salsa Tequila, popular analyst, 224,000 followers. It says, now's the time to stack coins you think will outperform in the next run up. Bitcoin may chop at $105,000 to $110,000 briefly, but don't misread this post-crash consolidation as weakness. Post-COVID, we stabilized for a month at $5,000 to $6,000 before the bull run. Folks, yes, I remember that. I was there. I was making YouTube videos. You can go back and listen to them. Time capsule moon Lambo videos. Absolutely. I remember Bitcoin was down there. XRP dropped to about 10 cents. And people were panic selling XRP at 10 cents. Now, if they couldn't know that XRP would ultimately run to $3.65 just years later, and that it would get its legal clarity. Well, they actually, at that point, we didn't know that it was going to get attacked by the SEC. That was 2020. But still, there's a lot that we didn't know. And I still believe the best is yet ahead. Like, I don't think the story's over for XRP. The idea of XRP never getting above $3.65 is just completely absurd to me. So I'm just saying, history kind of rhymes with itself, and he gets this, and that's what he's highlighting here. Like the people that have been around for more than 5 seconds intuitively understand this. It's not hard. Here's another analyst, famous guy, Henrik Zeberg, 202,000 followers. He shared where he thinks Bitcoin's going. He's predicting upwards of $160,000 this market cycle. He does believe there's going to be a blow off top still. And what do you think that means for XRP? And that's what I'm most excited about. I mean, yeah, I hold Bitcoin, but it's not going to go that much higher compared to where it is now in terms of ROI from this point. Who cares? The opportunity for life-changing wealth is with altcoins like XRP. But if Bitcoin does go that high, I know there's a crazy amount of money just sloshing around the space. It's just going to rock. It's going to propel XRP to ridiculous levels. Here's a post from chart analyst E. Greg Crypto. He says, gold is trying to teach us the parabolic moves. Even a giant like gold, worth over $20 trillion, can shoot up like a rocket. If you think Bitcoin sitting at $2 trillion can't double, and XRP at $140 billion market cap can at 5x to 10x its value in just a few weeks, you might need to check your sanity. And folks, that sentiment is something I completely, wholeheartedly agree with. This stuff can happen very quickly. So even though I don't make price predictions, the concept rings true to me. Absolutely. If you think that Bitcoin can't be worth way some multiple, if you let enough time pass, like, you're not thinking big enough. If you think XRP can't get to where Bitcoin is now, multi-trillion-dollar asset, you're not thinking big enough. I do believe that's possible. And I don't know what's going to happen. I don't pretend to, but I do not believe that's insane. And that's obvious. So, like, even for someone like me who refuses to make price predictions, obviously I believe we're going way fucking higher, or else I wouldn't have been holding XRP for the better part of a decade. Duh. So yeah, I do believe that we're going way higher. And there's so little money in XRP comparatively, it just doesn't take that much flowing in to get these crazy multiplier effects. And that's why I keep insisting these people that are calling for double-digit price action for XRP, even if they're talking about 15, 20, 25, 30 bucks, I don't know if we'll get that high this cycle, but it is not crazy. It's just not. That stuff can happen really, really, really fast. And if you're talking beyond just this market cycle, yeah, then it gets even easier to accept that concept. Without a timeline, yeah, and that's why I've also said, without a timeline, like, I don't think 3-digit XRP is crazy. There's way more than enough money on the planet to make that happen if XRP continues to be this important and then just grows in terms of importance where it is now. Maybe has a larger percentage of dominance in the asset class as time passes. I don't know if it'll happen, but it's not crazy. The people that are talking about that down the road, they're not insane. So we need to keep monitoring it and make sure things keep going the right way. But yeah, XRP looks so well positioned. You are early. Even if you just started, you're brand new to the XRP community in 2025, you're still early. Like I said earlier in the video, way less than 1% of humans have ever owned XRP at any point in history. Yeah, you're early. Congratulations, seriously, I mean that. Here's a post from another one from eGrid Crypto. He says, tell me what's bearish about this chart. You got an XRP price chart here. He says, 99% of so-called TA experts are screaming bear market, yet there isn't one confirmed bearish signal on the chart. They keep dragging fractals from past cycles and spinning random theories. But where's the real structural breakdown? There isn't one. The chart still shows strength, structure, and bullish resilience. So before shouting bear market, maybe check the data instead of chasing fear and making anticipation rather than confirmation. Yeah, look, if we actually have signals flipping indicating we're entering a bear market, I'll talk about them. I'm just not seeing them, folks. Let me take a sip of water here. Sorry, I've been in the recent days, like, I've been getting over a sickness, nothing serious, but man, I got this cough that's lingering, and then when I talk for too long, it gets to the point where I risk going into cough mode, so I'm trying to present that. If that happens, I'm going to have to dip out of here real quick, so hopefully not, because there's more XRP stuff I want to cover right now. Here's a post from chart analyst Ali Martinez. 30 million XRP accumulated by whales in the last 24 hours. You don't say. You don't say. 30 million XRP. This is what I'm saying. And this is what gets you rich. This is what I was talking about at the intro of the video, right? Like, if you have conviction in what you hold, and you hold for long periods of time, that is what it takes to get ridiculously wealthy in crypto, and specifically with XRP. And so the rich people, they're just doing more of that with XRP, and they're holding however long they have to. That is what it takes. It's not a suggestion, it's required. And not enough people deliver that message in crypto. Everybody has some stupid course to sell that doesn't even work. I mean, most of them are trash. I'm not saying all are trash, but most are. They're doing that. They're just getting rich selling that and running their YouTube channels. But the truth is, like, you can get rich in crypto. It's just that so many people are delivering piss poor messages. And my message, I mean, I don't know if you want to hear it or not. Like, if you maybe don't want it to be true, but you actually do just have to hold for a long time. And some people aren't going to like that, but like, it's the truth still. I don't get whether you like it or don't like it, doesn't freaking matter. It's the truth. At least I'm telling you that. Like, everybody else is just trying to get you to buy a course, get rich quick schemes, and then getting paid to pump stupid coins. I mean, there are all sorts of people that launch projects, and then they pay influencers to promote those projects. It's just the trashiest crap. They get paid tens of thousands, sometimes more than that. Influencers do. And coins get pumped, and then followers jump in, and then, they end up eating it because then it ultimately tanks. It's stupid rug pull stuff. And you don't need that. Investing in smart stuff with utility, large cap stuff, and some mid caps, and you just hold. And XRP is such an early obvious winner. Like, you don't have to fumble. Like, don't fumble this. You really have this opportunity. Here's a post from chart analyst Galaxy. It says XRP 2017 pattern is still in play. Just a healthy consolidation in the green box right before all-time highs. And so he's comparing what's happening now to the big, what was previously, I mean, the massive pump up to ultimately peak in early 2018 of $3.35. XRP was the #1 performing coin in the entire asset class for that market cycle. And it's not done. We're waiting for this last leg up here. We are waiting for it's coming, folks. It's coming. Here's a post from Chartner. XRP fib targets $8, $13, $27. So that's what he's looking for. He finds those to be key levels. And he's been sharing those levels a lot recently. I'm just noting that he's not wavering here in the face of all of these, a lot of these analysts flipping bearish. And look, I'm just telling you, the analysts that I follow are not flipping bearish with one exception. And if I start seeing a bunch of them flip, then yes, I'd start to get nervous because these are analysts that most of them I've been following for years. They have great track records. If a bunch of the analysts I follow start flipping bearish, I'm going to talk about it on this channel. And then yes, I'd be concerned for this cycle. But I wouldn't be concerned big picture because, like, even if we're entering a bear market, I'm still going to hold the same amount of crypto that I hold. In fact, as prices crater further, I'll just buy more, and then the market rebounds. And then even if it takes a few years, then I'll sell then, because I can't control when it's when the market goes anyway. But I'm going to have exposure, and then I'll just make even more money next cycle though. So like it's fine regardless. And this is why you should, if you just understand these basic things, you should be able to sleep easy at night. Honestly, here's a post from chart analyst Ether National. XRP price charts. Look at this. XRP will melt all faces. You gotta love that. XRP is clearly gathering strength in an accumulation phase ahead of a major breakout. Don't be fooled by the market silence. Such periods often herald major moves. XRP, which has historically enjoyed surprises, is again painting a similar picture. It's highly likely we'll hear XRP's name frequently in the coming period, both in terms of its technical outlook and potential news flow. So, I mean, if XRP doesn't melt faces this cycle, that means that we didn't have an alt season, as far as I'm concerned. Just the idea of us, Bitcoin going on its final parabola, money rotating into alts, when then XRP doesn't run higher, like, come on, get the hell out of here. That doesn't make any damn sense. XRP is absolutely going to melt faces if we're going to have an alt season. Now, in the short term, I recognize that we could go lower. You could have some additional chop here, and some analysts are calling for that, and maybe they're right. I'm just saying it doesn't change what's happening on a macro scale. It doesn't change big picture what's going on here. We still have our opportunity for life-changing wealth. It's all still there. And realistically, I do think, this is my guess, and I could be wrong, but I still think we're going to have that alt season. I do think XRP is going to melt faces this market cycle. But the good news is, if I'm wrong, which is possible, well, fast forward 5 years, fast forward 10 years, where the hell do you think we're going to be? Way higher than now. The market cap for the asset class is only $3.6 trillion right now. Look at this. That's going to go, again, into the tens of trillions and one day over $100 trillion. And XRP is a piece of this. So I can't understand. It doesn't make, I can understand, like, the concept of how people feel and why they feel. But what I'm arguing is it doesn't make logical sense to be fearful or feeling down here. It doesn't make logical sense if you understand these things. It does make sense to be very excited here. It does make sense to be bullish at this particular juncture in time. And if there's reason to flip bearish, like, we'll talk about it. It's not here though. The best is yet ahead. And this is what gets you rich in XRP. This is what it takes to be rich as an XRP holder. It's just buying as much of it as you possibly can and then holding. But that's the story of getting rich in crypto. It's a real thing. It actually does work. It's not a pipe dream. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say are right. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.